Hello and welcome to IB Times TV. I'm Marisa Christian. Today I'm joined by IB Times reporter Lisa Mahapatra to talk about big data analytics and how it affects you. There's been a lot of talk about big data recently. For those who aren't familiar, just what is big data and why are we talking about it now?
So big data is literally just a lot of data. That's why it's called big data. It's so big that most companies don't know what to do with it. So big data it basically is all of your data combined with the data of like millions of other people. And how are they getting your data? It's basically you're on Facebook, you're doing searches on Google, you're buying things on shopping websites like Amazon.com or Zappos or any one of the million websites that many of us frequent. So every time you go to a website and do anything, there are little bits of code or cookies or there are more advanced things now that kind of follow what you're doing and kind of keep track of like what are your search terms, what are you buying, how many are you buying, at what price point are you buying things. So and Google shows you advertisements based on terms that it kind of gleans from your emails. So I mean I feel like everyone already kind of knew that they were being targeted based on their activities. But I think a lot of people don't understand to what extent this could possibly affect them.
How are we being watched and just who is watching us?
So just the act of doing something on the internet, on any website at all, means that you're basically giving away your personal data to these websites. And who's tracking us? There's Google, there's Facebook, pretty much any social networking site. And then there are third-party companies that basically just add cookies, to various websites. Like dictionary.com had like 151 cookies when it was checked last, like a year ago or so. And as was recently discovered, the US government
the NSA
is also keeping tabs on what we're all doing.
Some people argue that they have nothing to hide, so big data collection doesn't affect them. What's wrong with this attitude, or what is the counter argument?
You may not have anything to hide, but when a company has a lot of information about you, then they can discriminate against you or for you. As in, having a lot of data about a lot of people basically prevents this idealistic idea that we're all equal. For example, if Amazon.com knows that you're very price sensitive, Amazon.com might offer you a few coupons. However, if someone else is just like, I'll just buy whatever, I don't really care about the price so much, then they're actually paying a higher price because Amazon.com has chosen to not give them coupons. And for example, in auto insurance recently, basically your insurance premiums are based on how you drive. So if you're a good driver, or if you're within a certain age group, or if you're, like old people have to pay way more car insurance. That's because the car company knows how old they are. So imagine if the car company knew everything else, the insurance company knew everything else about you. They could basically base their premiums on a lot more statistical data points.
Now, you found a cool game online where people can actually figure out how big data collection does affect them. Tell me a little bit about how this game works.
So I actually built this game because I was trying to kind of figure out how do I communicate this extremely complicated concept. Like, smart people who work for companies like Google and Facebook sometimes don't understand what big data is and how it works. So what's the best way to explain to someone like you or me how something so abstract as all this data collection that's going on in our lives can possibly affect us? And some of the ways it can affect like normal everyday people is how they perform at work, how they get hired. Because companies, HR firms are basically using a lot of big data analytics techniques to hire people. So they may hire you based on how well you fit the profile based on a lot of information that you possibly didn't know they had or hadn't exactly given them freely, just because they have access to all this data and they can purchase it if they want to. So, and it can affect how you vote, it can affect how you buy insurance. And if you play the game, you'll see exactly how.
Were you surprised to discover anything when you yourself, delved into your game and decided to figure out if it affects you?
So there's this funny thing called inductive analysis. So deductive analysis is basically if you have a cat, you'll probably want to buy cat food. However, inductive analysis is basically when it's an algorithm that basically has all this other information about you and can induce more information about you. You can guess things about you based on all the other information, and it has nothing to do with each other. It's like, yeah, people who have cats want to buy cat food, but inductive analysis is more like Republicans who buy a lot of milk like reading books about dogs. As in, like, these three things have nothing to do with each other. But like, and it's never like three things. It's like if you know like a million things about someone, you can guess another 200 things. So you're actually kind of giving away bits of information about yourself that you didn't know even, or like wouldn't have guessed that somebody else might have this information. So there's a lot more information about you than you would even think is out there.
Which is definitely something people should know about. So Lisa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.